In the second example, we're asked to simplify a square root that has variables inside of it instead of numbers. The thing to remember there is the idea that if you take any number and you square it, and then you square root it, you're just left with that same number. So for example, a specific example like square root of 9 is 3, with a variable square root of x squared is x. You can say the square, if you take smiley face and square it and then square root it, you're just left with smiley face. So in this case, when you have the square root of x to the 5th and y to the 4th, you can break up x to the 5th as x squared times x squared times x, and then same thing with the y to the 4th, you can look at it as y squared times y squared. And of course these three x's are going to multiply back to x to the 5th, and then this is going to multiply back to y to the 4th. But since you're simplifying it, just like we talked about, if you have the square root of x squared, it's x, so you have x squared, square root of that, that's going to come out. This x squared, when you square root that, that's going to be x. When you square root that x squared, that's going to be x. And then this last one is not squared, so that's going to stay inside the square root. And then same idea with the y squared. Square root of y squared is y. So that's going to go outside the square root. And then this y squared is going to go outside the square root as well. And there's no other y there, so there's no y's that are going to stay inside the square root. And then to simplify this, y times y is y squared, and then x times x is x squared. And then you have the square root of x left. Now let's look at it, same problem, but let's look at it with the factor tree. So you have x to the 5th, y to the 4th, and x to the 5th is of course x times itself 5 times, so x times x times x times x, and then y to the 4th is y times y times y times y. So you got a pair of x's, those combine, they're going to come outside the square root. You got another pair of x's, those combine, and then you have a single x, and that one doesn't have a pair, so that's going to end up staying inside the square root. Same thing for this pair of y's, that comes out, and then this pair of y's, that's going to come out of the square root. So the only thing that we have left is this x, that's going to stay inside the square root. And then again, if we bring it all together, x times x is x squared, y times y is y squared, and you have the square root of x.